Hi guys, so we're back for the second lesson of solving rational equations. So there's a couple different ways we can actually solve this problem. We can make a proportion on one side, so I can add the fractions on the left side, find a common denominator, and solve that by making a proportion, then cross multiplying, and doing what we did in the last lesson, which is totally, completely a way to go. I just want to put that out there. Or we could just get rid of the fractions by multiplying by the common multiplying everything by the common denominator. Does not matter which way you do it. Whichever way you feel more comfortable with is the way that you should do it. And I probably will do it both ways so you can see it done both ways. So the first way I'm going to do it, and of course, and of course you need to always check for extraneous solutions, always, still. Okay, so obviously this first one, number 13, is not going to have any extraneous solutions because there's no variable in the denominator. So on this one, we won't have to check because there's no variable down there. So this one, whatever we get, will not have an extraneous solution. So what I'm going to do the first way is I'm going to solve this by, let's see, I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to slide this over, and we're going to create a proportion off this problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this half, this side, and I am going to add it together. So I'm going to find the common denominator. So what's the common denominator between 9 and 3? Well, of course it's 9, right? So that means the 7x stays the same. And what do I multiply 3 by to get 9? Well, times 3, right? Times 3, okay? So 3 times 1 is 3. So that would be 7x plus 3 equals x minus 1 over 2, okay? So there's that. Okay, so now we're going to cross multiply, just like what we've been doing. Cross multiply and solve. So I get 2 times 7x plus 3 equals 9 times x minus 1. So 14x plus 6 equals 9x minus 9. I almost said 1. Minus 9. So I went all the variables on one side and all the constants on the other. So I'm going to subtract 6. And I'm going to subtract 9x. Okay, so I get, let's see, 14 minus 9 is 5x, and this is 0, equals negative 15. Divide by 5, x equals negative 3. Okay, so that's one way to do it. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show you another way to do the same problem. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to just multiply the whole thing by the common denominator, and that's going to get rid of my fractions. Well, what's a number that 9, 3, and 2 all go into? Well, I'm thinking that's 18. So I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 18. And I'm going to show you what happens. So I get 18 times 7x divided by 9 plus 18 divided by 3, well, that's times 1, let me write that there, equals 18 times x minus 1 all divided by 2. Well, 9 goes into 18 2 times, 3 goes into 18 6 times, and 2 goes into 18 9 times. Look, nothing left in the denominator. So I get 2 times 7x is 14x plus 6 equals 9 times x minus 1. So 14x plus 6 equals 9x minus 9. Subtract 6, minus 9x. Now we're right back to where we were on the other side, right? So 5x equals negative 15, and x equals negative 3. Okay, so I don't care which way you solve this. Either way is fine. It's about the same amount of work for this particular problem. Sometimes when it gets a little harder, I think that multiplying by the common denominator sometimes is a little simpler, but that's up to you. Whichever way you prefer to do it is the way I want you to do these problems. So whichever way you like. I'm probably just going to show one way from now on, just so you know. Okay, so here we go. And I will show whichever way is the easiest. I just want you to know that. So if there's already a common denominator, I will probably make a proportion and solve. If all the denominators are different, I'll probably multiply by the common denominator. So I'll probably flip back and forth between, but I'll try and explain why I'm doing and which way I'm doing it, okay? So here we go. We're going on to the next problem. So on my right hand side where both problems are, I've got two different denominators, so I could add them together. I can make a common denominator, but I think I'm just going to multiply by the common denominator, which is what does 2 and 3 and 2, since I've got my denominators are 3, 2, and 2. What do they all go into? Is 6. So I'm going to multiply everything by 6. So I've got 6 times w minus 3 all over 3 plus 6 times w over 2 equals 6 times w plus 4 all over 2. So now I'm going to simplify. So 3 goes into 6 2 times, 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So I end up with 2 times w minus 3 plus 3w equals 3 times w plus 4. Distribute out, combine my like terms. Let's get this done. So 2 times w is 2w. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Plus 3w equals 3w plus 12. So then I get 5w minus 6 equals 3w plus 12. So minus 3w, add 6, and I get 2w equals 18. If I can add right. Divide by 2, and w equals 9. Okay, so we're going to have you do a couple problems. If you have any couple problems to work through. If you have any difficulties, contact your teacher, me, Miss Martinova, Mr. Call, Miss Parker. Just go ahead and give us a call or email. You know the drill by now. We'll be glad to help you. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.